Hello everyone, this is Jason from Primetime Aquatics, and in this video, super excited to bring you part 6 of our fish room tour. Yes, we've broken it up into lots of parts this year. This may very well be the only fish room tour we do all year, so I hope you enjoy it. Now, in this video, we're going to be looking at 3 of our 33 longs, which is a really cool size tank, as well as a couple of our 40-gallon breeders on this side of the fish room. If you are looking for more information on some of the fish featured in these videos, check out the description below. We might have done some species profiles on them. Also, if you've missed the first 5 parts of the fish room tour, we will put those in the description below as well. Hope you enjoy the video. Thanks for watching. So I'm super excited to bring you this part of the fish room tour. This is the first tank we're going to look at, Guaianacara sturgiosi. This is a really cool cichlid. This is one of our 33 longs. I think this might be one of my favorite sizes of tanks. It's interesting because a 33 long has the same general dimensions in terms of length and width as a 55 gallon. So it's going to be 4 feet long. It's going to be about 12.5 inches wide, but the difference really comes in the height. This is a much shorter tank, so if you want that 4-foot length, but you don't like necessarily reaching over and trying to clean tanks, especially a taller tank like a 55 that might be around 20 or 21 inches or so, this is a shorter tank, a little bit easier to deal with. One of the reasons why we like it so much in our fish room is a 33 long is something that we can actually triple stack and still have plenty of room to work on fish and also be able to see everything. Now, often this isn't a tank that you're usually going to find in a pet store, but they can usually special order them. So if it's something you're interested in, I would go and check out your local fish store and see if they can order one for you. It might be a little bit more expensive than an average size tank, but it can be worth the extra cost. These fish, back to these fish, they're really cool. We've got a decent sized group. I believe there's 6 or 7 in here, roughly split between males and females. What I like about this fish is they don't appear to be overly aggressive. They might dig up some plants and maybe eat a few, but we've got a lot of jungle val growing in here. We've got some crypts, and they, for the most part, left them alone. We had some other plants in here that they either dug up or ate. But this is a really cool fish. You can see we also have some green neons in the background. I really like those as well. And the Guaianacara leave the neons alone, which is advantageous. There's a couple bristlenose plecos in here that are kind of making sure the algae is not all over the glass, and they're doing a good job of it. But this is awesome. The main male that you're going to see in this tank, and there he is right there, a little bit lighter color, a little bit more iridescent, and a lot of them have that black stripe going down the face, both the males and the females. The females appear to be a little bit smaller than the males and slightly less color, but they both have really cool color. It's not something that's going to be, overly vibrant, but you can see here that subtle iridescence both in the body and the fins, just really cool. This is the second 33 long. This is our Lake Tanganyikan 33 long. We've got a number of fish in here. The Parasiprochromis is one of my favorite fish, really super pretty. Here is a Transcriptus, really nice rock-dwelling Lake Tanganyikan fish. There's a number of fish in here. They're all getting along pretty well. This tank has been set up for a while, and there's been some different inhabitants. There were a lot of Calypteris in this tank, and we are only down to, I believe, like 1 male and 1 female now. They're a little bit on the older side. What I like a lot about many of the Lake Tanganyikan fish, as you see here, is you can plant some of these tanks and not have to worry about them eating the plants or doing a lot of digging. Now, I know plants in a Lake Tanganyikan setup, it's not necessarily biotope-like, but I don't care. I really like just having the plants in these tanks, and it's just cool to watch them kind of swim around in them. And so here, all of our tanks that you're seeing are run on sponge filters in this video. So with the 33 longs, we'll typically put in a couple of larger sponge filters on either side, just because it is a 4-foot tank. The rocks that you're looking at here, this is flagstone that we get from a local landscaping place for somewhere around like 20 or 30 cents a pound. And it's just a great rock that doesn't change our water parameters at all, because our pH is naturally pretty high, right around an 8.2, and we have relatively hard water, so the flagstone really doesn't impact our water parameters at all. And I found it really good, especially for a lot of the rock-dwelling Lake Tanganyikan fish, like some of the ones you see here, the Leilupai, the Transcriptus, the Calypteris seem to like to interact with the rocks. So it's been a good setup for us. One of the interesting things, and I don't know if we'll see it in this video, but we actually have 1 female sailfin molly in this tank, a silver molly, and that fish has been responsible for the most part in keeping all the green hair algae in check, which has been really awesome. She seems to really love to eat the stuff, and it's keeping our tank looking good. In terms of lights, what we have on pretty much all the tanks you're going to see in this video, yes, all the tanks that you see in this video, we have Phoenix Stingrays. They are a nice mid-level light, not super cheap, but not very expensive either, and they give off a nice full spectrum of light, and it's perfectly adequate for all the plants that we grow in our fish room. This is the top 33 long. This one was a little hard to film just because it is closer to the ceiling. These are our rusty cichlids. These are Mbuna, but what I love about these fish is they are not terribly aggressive. And in fact, we had some of these in our 75-gallon Mbuna tank, which we showed off on the other side in part 3 of our fish room tour, I believe. And when we had a couple of them in there, they got beat up and we had to remove them. We set them aside in a 20-gallon until I could get this set up for them. And so now what we've got is a little colony starting. Now they will eat their fry, but some of the fry tend to survive in the rocks. At some point I'm going to start pulling females out that I see are holding, just because, like I said, this is one of my favorite Mbuna. Again, not super aggressive, so good tank mates might be your yellow labs, maybe your red zebras, especially if they're not, if it's a larger tank and they're not vying for space. Maybe Pseudotrophia solosi. I would not put these with any really tough Mbunas like the Kenii or the Aratus. I just don't think that these fish will do well in that kind of setup. But what's really cool is if you keep them on a lighter substrate, they get an even more purple sort of color to them. So the black substrate is not ideal for this fish, but if you can put them on a lighter substrate, they'll look even better. This is a 40-gallon breeder. These are some rainbow cichlids. And pretty cool fish. We've got about 7 of them or so in this tank. It's really set up. Eventually they're gonna breed, I hope, in this tank. They're not very difficult to breed. But we've got a couple bristlenose plecos in here that I suspect are eating eggs. I think we have too many fish in this tank to actually get a pair to feel comfortable enough breeding and protecting an area. So what we're gonna do is eventually move some of these fish out, get it down to a pair, and let them do their thing, because this is a really nice fish. If there's a downside, you'll notice there are no plants in this tank. They eat them. They absolutely will eat just about anything that is green that you put in the tank. We've tried jungle val and hornwort and all kinds of stuff, and it all goes bye-bye within a week, which is fine as long as you know that ahead of time. Don't put these fish in a planted tank. But obviously the color is definitely worth adding at least a couple to an established community tank. They're not overly aggressive, which is cool. This is our 40-gallon breeder Severum tank. These are the the red spotted gold Severums. I believe we have a male and a female pair in here. What's interesting about these fish is they were actually in a 125 with some Geophagus weinmilleri. We had a massive bacterial infection in that tank, and we lost everything except for these 2 Severums. They managed to survive. They were very small at the time, and we wanted to use that 125 for other fish. Again, we show that in the part 3 of the fish room tour. So we moved these in here temporarily, and at the time they were still small enough where I wasn't quite sure what we had, but the more I look at these fish, the more I see the way they're behaving, the way they're kind of pairing up. They're certainly not chasing each other. I suspect that this is probably a male and a female. The male we're looking at here has got the more spotted features, longer finnage. It's a little bit larger, and then the female here you see on the left. And like I said, these 2 have been doing this kind of paired up, swimming around the tank. I think I might try to put some structures in there so that they can lay their eggs. We do have a bristlenose pleco in here that would probably have to come out, because I'm pretty sure that bristlenose pleco would eat the eggs. And this, of course, is another fish that loves to eat plants. We've done a species profile. I will definitely put that in the description below. So the last thing that we're going to look at in this fish room tour is our tens. These are mostly holding tanks. Here we've got some rainbow fish, some Adelphi cory cats. Everything in that tank is going in the 75-gallon that we saw in the previous part. These are some grout, Pseudotrophia solosi. Here's some more rainbows, some more cory cats. The rainbows are going to go in the 75-gallon Gymnogeophagus tank, like I said, from the previous fish room tour that we did. And then the cory cats, I'm not exactly sure where those are going yet. We'll find a place for them. I'm not sure if I'm going to be breeding either of these types of cories, but they're both really cool. I like them. Now here we have some black rose shrimp on black gravel. Not a great idea. There's one of them, but we'll move on. Here, these are Tigerlimia. I really like these fish. They're live bears. Here we've got some red zebra cichlids. This is just a holding tank for these fish. They're going to wind up going to the next swap and probably sell out that tank there. I like these red zebras. Lots of really nice color. It's just something that adds just a vibrant color. Now they are Mbuna. They can be a little bit aggressive. I wouldn't say they're overly aggressive, but probably what you'd expect from an Mbuna cichlid. Now here we have some Kenyais. These guys do get pretty aggressive. The males get yellow. The females stay blue with the dark blue stripes. Here we have some Eureka Reds. I think I'm going to move these fish back to the 55 gallon that we saw in the previous part and start breeding them again. We've got a male, 3 females. I like the look of that. So we might start making some more fry of them just because they're really cool. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.